Greetings to us and welcome to another video. At the time of this recording, it has been approximately 24 hours since the last Forbidden Limited list got updated, and a lot of experimentation is going on. A lot of people are trying out new decks and strategies. Some are more popular than others. Some are like rehashes of like what happened to older archetypes that recently got hit, like Infernoble Knights and Unchained and Rescue Ace, while other people are experimenting cards that got off the list, like for example, some of these cards that you see on the screen, as well as like Ib and Orcus Harpor. What I want to do today is talk about a deck or strategy that actually benefited a lot out of this ban list, and pretty much no one's talking about it. Uh, but yeah, basically the deck that I'm referring to is Sky Striker. Uh, if you haven't noticed, Sky Striker has not been relevant in the past couple of years. However, outside of Hornet drones and Engage not being a 3, this deck is pretty much at full power. Like, pretty much everything you want to use for the Sky Striker strategy, it's right here. And something to take note that probably other people are not like taking into consideration is we are getting more support for Sky Striker soon, and some of them are actually really good cards. So I think it's only a matter of time until people figure it out, or people who watch this video, like, listen to this and like want to experiment on it. But I kind of want to talk about Sky Striker because there are a lot of cards that got moved from the list, like really just benefited this deck. Uh, I'll start with Upstart Goblin. I think Upstart Goblin is the biggest winner here because it is a spell card that replaces itself. And yes, you are giving more life points to your opponent, and like the tempo of the game is now more pushed towards later turns and not just dictated on turn one. However, having a spell card that can replace itself unlimited is huge for Sky Striker. Especially a card like Upstart Goblin, because it pretty much turns your 40 card deck into a 37 card deck, meaning that you're going to have a good level of consistency depending on how you build the Sky Striker deck. Another card that really benefits them is Snatch Deal. So Snatch Deal is strong because, again, it is just a spell card that just applies pressure onto your opponent. So right now, if you take into consideration between Snatch Deal, Mind Control, which is newly unlimited, which I will talk about also, uh, Triple Tactic Talents, Widow Anchor, Change of Heart, and Triple Tactic Thrust, just to name pretty much almost all of them, we have too many cards in the game that just shifts control of stuff that are occupying your opponent. And not many end game boards that are being made at the moment involve like really like problematic monsters, like monsters that like pretty much just like end the game on like upon like their summon, or monsters that pretty much just floodgate you out of the game, which means that cards like all these control cards that just switch control to your from your opponent really are just going to like benefit you way more than not. The only real monster that you really have to worry about when it comes to like these spell cards, except for talents, because talents does not target, is the other card I want to talk about, and another reason why I think Sky Striker is also going to be strong, and that is the existence of SP Little Knight. So SP Little Knight is a card that, to no surprise, like benefits a lot of archetypes and a lot of strategies. However, in the Sky Striker theme, it is really strong because it's a monster that can get itself off the board. And not only that, it's a monster you can just summon in the extra monster zone, and like it's not really occupying you any issues. And it's a monster that's pretty much just problematic to your opponent as long as it stays on the board. And the condition for its trigger effect, like it's very very easy to fulfill, meaning that you're more than often not going to have an empty board for you to use your Sky Striker spells. So between between like the control cards, and between like All-Star Goblin to be at 3, like this deck is just very very consistent at what it wants to do. I think breaking boards is going to be a little bit easier with this deck. Another card that also benefited them, that also moved from the list, is Dino Wrestler Pancratops. We now have 2 copies instead of 3. And Dino Wrestler Pancratops is a card that just pretty much is made for Sky Striker. Like, it's a big monster you can just summon. It pretty much has really good stats. It can remove a card on the board, apply pressure to your opponent. It can get itself off the board, which is very, very important because it means that you can use your striker spells. Like, just a phenomenal card on its own, and the fact that it's more than 1 copy just makes it like much more stronger for like this deck, like as a going second board breaking strategy. Like, experimentation pretty much needs to be done when it comes to this deck. Like, there's no such thing as a perfect Sky Striker list. You pretty much have to learn how to balance between like all the cards that you want to play in your deck. Um, the other approach you can do is just max out on all of them and just play an RNG game of what board breakers you just open with. But yeah, I think Sky Strikers are looking really really good. They're in like in a very good spot. Like, the only real meta contending deck that you should be really worried about should be Labyrinth, because of the existence of Eradicator virus. But outside of that, like, I think there is nothing wrong with this deck. I think people should be looking into it a little bit more. I think a lot of things can be done with Sky Strikers. I have seen other lists of Sky Strikers playing like other engines, like True Draco, Eldritch. The Sinful Spoils package is also good in this deck because you can pretty much like you can give yourself 2 free spell cards while also removing a card from your opponent. Uh, with that engine, and it's also an engine that can just move cards away from your hand, that gives you more cards. It's also an engine that just gives you more card advantage, like later on in the duel. It does not conflict with like your spell cards outside of just the Diabell Star occupying the spell and trap zone herself, but there is a way to circumvent that. I might make a deck profile with that engine and just talk about it a little bit more. But yeah, that's it from me. I kind of just wanted to talk about this because uh, I felt that like this deck or this archetype was one of the biggest winners of this ban list, and yeah, once you figure it out or once you start playing with it, like maybe you'll see something more than I have. But until the next video, keep practicing and keep dueling.